Hello, you, the one seeking a moment of silence amid a world full of noise. Welcome to Sleepy Science Saga, where scientific stories are not just told through reason, but through the breath of the soul. Here, each night is a slow journey through the mysteries of the universe, of nature, and of humanity itself. Journeys narrated with a warm voice, soft light, and the gentle flow of time. When you close your eyes, imagine yourself lying in a forest where nothing rushes. Every leaf is gently stirring, not because of the wind, but because life itself is breathing. And in that breath lies a miracle. Plants don't just live, they sense, communicate, and sometimes as if they are thinking. For centuries, humans have viewed trees as silent creatures, reacting only through chemical instincts, without consciousness, without emotion. But the research of the 20th and 21st centuries has gradually unveiled a different world, a world where trees send warning signals when danger approaches, share nutrients through root networks, and respond differently depending on who tends to them. In the deepest layers of the soil, amid countless fungal threads and root veins, there operates a green nervous system in silence, where every drop of water, every ion, every molecule carries information. You may never have thought that when you water a small potted plant, it knows you. It doesn't hear as we hear, doesn't speak as we speak, but it senses. And that sensing is the first language of life. Tonight's episode, The Secret Life of Plants, the science story of meditation for good sleep, will take you on that journey. We will listen to the wordless stories of plants, how they communicate, how they remember, how they respond to music, light, or even human emotions. You will be guided through wondrous experiments, where a bean plant can recognize its kin, where a forest can share warnings when an insect attacks, and where musical vibrations can ripen grapes early or help a garden thrive without pesticides. And throughout this journey, I hope you don't just listen with your ears, but with your mind. For behind scientific concepts like auxin, polarity, or neurobiology lies a very human story, the story of connection. When we listen to nature, we are learning to listen to ourselves again. Plants have no brain, but they have memory. They have no mouth, but they know how to call to each other in danger. They have no heart, but they still love light, love moisture, and love life. Just like us, no need for many words. Simply existing in silence is already communicating with the universe. Sleepy science. Saga was born from that idea, that science too can be a lullaby. Here, the laws of physics, chemical reactions, or biological principles are retold in a whisper, as if you're lying down listening to the wind through the leaves, rather than reading a dry research paper. Each video is a bridge between reason and emotion, between knowledge and meditation. And strangely, the deeper we understand nature, the more peace we feel, as if every speck of dust, every drop of water, every leaf is reminding us that this life is already perfect in its own way. So tonight, you don't need to try to understand everything. Just relax. Let your mind slow down. For what matters is not how much we know, but whether we are still enough to feel. Let the secret life of plants open a door for you, where knowledge meets meditation, where science meets sleep, and where the earth, in its own language, will whisper the story of life that you are still a part of. Perhaps never in history have humans been so distant from nature as now. We live among buildings, breathe through filters, and view the world through the thick glass of screens. But even when far from the forest, in some small corner of the subconscious, we still crave something green, a slower pulse, a gentler breath, something humans once knew but have forgotten. When we place a small potted plant by the window, it's not just decoration. It's an instinctive effort to pull life back close, to listen to something beyond human voices, beyond logic, and beyond words. If you listen really carefully, you will realize Nature is never silent. Wind, water, soil, insects, and even the intertwining roots beneath the earth, all are conversing in their own way. It's just that the rhythm of that conversation is so slow, so subtle, that our hurried senses can't catch up, so we think the trees just stand still. But in that slow world, stories are unfolding every second, a different rhythm of life, deeper and more enduring, like an underground river in silence. Science calls it plant communication. Plant communication. But saying it like that sounds dry, while the truth is far more beautiful and wondrous. Plants don't speak in words, don't use sound waves like us. They speak through sense, through light, through tiny electrical currents running through every cell. When a leaf is bitten by an insect, it sends out a chemical alarm signal, and within minutes, neighboring trees begin to alter their taste to defend themselves. When a corn plant's roots lack oxygen, it emits a signal that helps other plants prepare survival mechanisms. Underground, through fungal threads thinner than hair, the roots of hundreds of trees can exchange information, warnings, and even share nutrients. A forest is not a random collection of millions of individuals. It's an ordered community, where every member knows its role in the collective rhythm of life. Scientists call that network the Wood Wide Web, the forest's internet. Instead of cables and optical signals, it uses mycorrhizal fungal threads, where carbon, water, and signaling molecules flow like invisible data streams. When a mother tree in the forest is injured, nearby saplings can sense and respond, as if sharing the pain. When a tall tree absorbs excess light, it can transfer surplus chemical energy to another in the shade. No central control, no leader, just resonance. A distributed intelligence, more efficient and sustainable than any system humans have ever created. That makes many people wonder, can plants think? This question is not just scientific, but touches philosophy and even spirituality. For if thinking means purposeful reaction to the world, then clearly trees do it every day. They know to turn toward light, to avoid shadow, to store memories of drought seasons to prepare for the next. Some species even learn if you drop a sensitive plant, Mimosa pudica, many times without harm, it will understand that the drop is not dangerous and stop folding its leaves. That's not mere biological reflex, it's a sign of learning. No brain, but memory. No ears, but can hear vibrations. No eyes, but sense light beyond the spectrum humans see. When hearing that, one might smile, thinking it's just a metaphor. But as more research emerges, it's harder to deny that plants have their own kind of intelligence. Not the quick wit of rapid thought, but the intelligence of persistence, of timelines stretching hundreds of years. An oak tree living 400 years may have witnessed generations of humans born and gone, yet it still stands, still grows, still adjusts its leaves to every climate fluctuation. In each growth ring of the trunk is memory, not individual memory, but the memory of the planet. If humans are creatures of speed, then trees are creatures of patience. While we race against time, they converse with eternity. Each tiny seed is a complete living program, carrying the map of light and shadow, of moisture and wind direction. From the embryonic stage, the tree already knows what is up and what is down, a biological polarity. That polarity never changes, even if the tree is cut, flipped upside down, or buried. A willow branch cut from the trunk will still grow roots on the side that once pointed down and buds on the side that pointed up, as if in every cell there is an invisible compass pointing toward life. When we begin to realize that, our view of the green world around us changes. We will understand that a forest is not just a collection of trees, but a gigantic brain of the earth, slow, silent, but full of awareness. And perhaps that awakening is what humans seek in moments of meditation. For when we sit still, breathing deeply in, we too are doing what trees have done for millions of years, exchanging energy with the sky, with the earth, and with each other. It sounds romantic, but in every small detail lies true science, the science of connection. Plants teach us that intelligence lies not in distinction, but in harmony. They don't try to conquer the environment, they become part of it. They don't compete for light, they share it. And when a tree dies, its energy returns to the soil, nourishing new sprouts. In that green world, there is no absolute loss, only transition. That's what makes plant science not just knowledge, but a lesson for the soul. For when we understand how trees live, we are also learning to live more slowly, more steadily, more silently. Every time we see a leaf fluttering, we don't just see it reflecting sunlight, but see ourselves in it. Fragile yet steadfast, silent yet full of vitality. And so, as you lie listening to these words, let your mind drift slowly, like sap flowing through wood. Imagine beneath the surface, billions of root threads intersecting, exchanging, listening, and breathing together. Every being has a voice, even those without sound. And when we learn to listen to that wordless voice, we can begin to hear what modern life has made us forget, that silence is not emptiness, but another language of life. In that moment of silence, if you close your eyes, you might feel a very gentle movement, as if the air is changing shape. No sound, but you hear something deeper than words, a vibration spreading from soil to trunk, from trunk to leaves, then dissolving into the air. That is the breath of the earth, slow, steady, and patient. Every being on this planet is in rhythm with that breath, including you, whether you are aware or not. When we view a forest from afar, we see it as still. But if we zoom in on every detail, you will see it is a living universe, roots spreading like blood vessels, cells contracting like heartbeats, stomata on leaves opening and closing like breaths. Each leaf absorbs light, each drop of water moves through the xylem, each ion carries signals from cell to cell. In that world, every movement has meaning, and silence never means immobility. One scientist once said, "If you want to understand a tree, you must learn to think slowly." Because the intelligence of trees lies not in instant reactions, but in the ability to wait. A seed can lie in the soil for years, even decades, waiting until conditions are right before sprouting. No haste, no fear, no struggle, just quietly waiting for its moment. And when that moment comes, it doesn't question the reason. It simply blooms. Perhaps that's what modern humans need to relearn. Trust in the process of life. Trees never doubt that light will return after a long night. Roots never doubt that water lies beneath the soil. They don't live in anxiety or calculation. They simply live fully, silently, and absolutely true to the rhythm of nature. We, on the other hand, are caught in a different rhythm, fast, rushed, noisy. We fear silence because we think it's empty. We fear standing still because we think we're wasting time. But for trees, standing still is an action. It's how they observe, listen, absorb, and prepare for the moment of bursting forth. If you've ever sat in a forest long enough, you'll feel the difference in the air. It's thicker, damper, and carries an indescribable energy. Scientists call it phytoncides, compounds released by trees to communicate and self-protect, but also what makes humans feel relaxed and peaceful in the woods. That's the chemistry of quiet, the science of peace. Every breath you take in the forest is the result of millions of invisible interactions between trees and air, between light and soil, between life and life. And in this world full of data and screens, we rarely realize that to listen, we need silence. Just as for a leaf to absorb light, it must stand still. That silence is not the absence of sound, but space for life to speak in its own rhythm. That's why when we sit still in nature, we feel a profound harmony, as if the primal part within us is activated again, remembering something ancient that no words can name. Silence is the language trees use to converse with the world. A branch doesn't need to speak, but when it bends toward the sun, it has said what every being understands: the aspiration to reach for light. A tiny seed doesn't utter a sound, but when it pierces the heavy soil to seek warmth, it is telling the story of life's strength. A forest doesn't speak words, but every falling leaf, every blooming flower, every changing season is poetry of the universe written in green hues. Humans in the depths still understand that language. When we see morning dew on a branch, hear leaves rustling in the wind, feel the scent of soil after rain, we are not just observing nature, but dialoguing with it. The problem is we've forgotten how to respond. We've forgotten that we, too, were once part of this great conversation. If there's ever a moment you feel lost, try placing your hand on a tree trunk. Close your eyes and feel the slow flow of life within it. You'll sense a very real, very steady energy, like the earth's pulse touching your own heartbeat. That energy doesn't say, "I exist," but it makes you feel an undeniable presence. It doesn't try to convince you. It simply invites you to exist together, to breathe together, to stand still in life. And perhaps, in that very moment, you'll understand why trees don't need to go anywhere to find happiness. Because everything they need, light, water, soil, air, comes when they are ready to receive. They don't chase. They simply open. While we, over so many years, have been busy running after what trees have long known, the peace of being oneself. When we learn to be silent like trees, we don't lose language. We just shift it to a subtler form. When we learn to stand still, we don't stop growing. We just learn to grow in depth rather than breadth. And when we learn to listen without judgment, we begin to realize that the world has never stopped speaking. We've just been too busy to hear. So tonight, as you lie down and let your breath harmonize with the earth's breath, know that you are not alone. Every being around you, every leaf, every grain of sand, every gust of air, is participating in that silent symphony. Every heartbeat of yours is an echo in the green forest. Every breath you exhale is a whisper sent to the branches out there. Because in the end, silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of all that cannot be expressed in words. And when you begin to hear that language, you are also touching the deepest part of yourself. The part that is still living, still breathing, and relearning how to belong to this world. From here, we will delve deeper into the underground world of plants, where roots communicate in darkness, where living networks connect every origin, and where the earth holds the oldest memories of life. And from that silence, we begin to recognize another world. Not on the surface, but beneath it. A world without light, without sound, but where nature's thought unfolds most clearly. That is the world of roots. Every time we see a trunk reaching upward, we only see half the story. For the other half lies deep in the earth's embrace, where roots thinner than hair weave through every grain of sand, every rock crevice, every underground water vein. They don't just draw nutrients. They listen, communicate, make decisions. In the darkness where no eyes see, roots see through chemicals, hear through moisture, and touch through electricity. There, each root thread is a wire in the Earth's biological nervous system. Like neurons in the brain, roots connect into a network, not in linear order, but in natural branching, where every point is both input and output. When one root encounters an obstacle, the others know and adjust their path. When a tree faces drought, signals from its root system spread around, helping neighboring trees alter their water exchange rates to conserve energy. And in this underground world, cooperation matters more than competition. Ecologists call it the wood wide web, a symbiotic network of tree roots and fungi covering the Earth's depths. Through that network, Trees not only share nutrients, but send warning signals or even nourish weaker ones. A mother tree can send carbon and minerals to a distant sapling through mycorrhizal threads, a form of biological transmission line. Every time a large tree falls, the remaining roots continue to sustain the surrounding soil. No isolation, only the linkage of life. Imagine the soil as an invisible city, without lights, but lit by biological energy, without sound, but resounding with faint electrical currents between cells. There are no borders between one tree and another. Roots intersect, intertwine, exchange, then merge like flows of consciousness. If the surface is a canvas of colors, then underground is a canvas of connections. And the miracle is that connection is not chaotic. It is organized by principles very similar to how neurons arrange in the human brain. Roots cluster into central regions where chemical signals are processed faster than dispersed to the edges. Some researchers call this a hierarchical biological network, where information doesn't flow one way but in continuous feedback, like a conversation among millions of individuals. A rain falls, and within minutes moisture spreads across the root network. Nearby trees adjust their stomata, changing their water uptake rhythm. No individual consciousness, but collective intelligence. If you think about it, you'll realize what trees are doing is meditation in nature. For meditation is not no thinking, but thinking in silence, not controlling everything, but feeling the flow of energy without resistance. A tree's root system is like that, not trying to control the soil, just learning to listen to it. They don't change the environment to suit themselves. They adapt to harmonize with it. One biologist once said, "Roots have no eyes, but they orient more accurately than we do." When a seed germinates, the first little root doesn't grow randomly. It chooses direction, probes for moisture, avoids toxins, and connects with beneficial microbes. Not with a mind, but with a material intelligence, the intelligence of matter, where matter itself knows how to sustain life. In that world, every decision is made not by command, but by sensing. And that sensing is transmitted by tiny electrical signals, the pulses of life. When a root hits an obstacle, the cell's electrical potential changes, creating a spreading reaction along the system, causing other roots to respond almost immediately. Like nerve impulses in the human brain, these signals travel fast, adjusting the whole tree's behavior. When you walk across a lawn, the roots under your feet sense the pressure change, moisture, temperature, and begin to respond. You are never truly separate from nature. You just don't realize that every step awakens an entire living network. What's astonishing is that even in a small patch of soil like a potted plant, thousands of invisible dialogues occur between microbes, fungi, and roots. Some symbiotic bacteria help the plant synthesize nutrients. Others warn of approaching pathogenic fungi. At the microscale, every soil particle is a small universe where information and energy exchange ceaselessly. Even, there is evidence that different plant species, like beans, wheat, and grass, can recognize their neighbors and adjust root growth to avoid unnecessary competition. A form of social intelligence that humans are only beginning to understand. In that darkness, the earth holds its oldest memories. Old root threads, when decomposing, leave chemical traces, like faint writing on paper. When new generations of trees grow, they read these signs to know where nutrients are rich, where drought once struck, where damage occurred. Invisible, but full of memory. The soil is the diary of life, and the tree roots are the pen continuing to write in that diary day by day, season by season, breath by breath. When understanding that, we suddenly see that the life of trees is not separate from the Earth's consciousness. Trees are the planet's senses, eyes, ears, and skin of Mother Earth. They listen to rain, measure heat, sense gravity, and respond by changing their form. A wind may make leaves rustle, but a small change in soil moisture also causes roots to adjust direction hundreds of times a day. The entire universe seems to communicate through them, through rhythm, through light, through electricity, through life. If you could shrink yourself to the size of a root cell, you would find yourself drifting in a warm brown world where energy moves slow as a dream. Around you are streams of protons, sodium ions, calcium, and charges running along cell membranes. Each tiny particle is a biological message, and billions of those messages move every second, connecting the tree to the world. And when you return to human size, you'll understand that everything you see, canopy, leaves, flowers, seeds, is the result of those conversations, of those thoughts in the darkness. We often think intelligence exists only in the brain, but in nature, intelligence is not confined to the skull. It is distributed throughout the body, spreading in space, blending in every grain of soil and drop of water. Just as our consciousness is not fixed anywhere, but oscillates between emotions, memories, and sensations, nature, in its own way, also thinks through its entire body. And perhaps that's why when we touch the soil, we feel like we're coming home. For in that seemingly still layer of soil lies something far deeper, a wordless intelligence, a consciousness of life, a network where every root thread is a thought vein of the planet. The more we understand it, the smaller we feel as humans, but also the more we realize we've never been separated from this universe. The more we understand it, the smaller we feel as humans, but also the more we realize we've never been separated from this universe. Every heartbeat in our heart, every breath we inhale, is an extension of interactions that have occurred for billions of years, a cycle where green trees are an essential part. We inhale what leaves exhale, and exhale what leaves absorb. Between humans and trees, there is no distance, but a continuous exchange flow between life and life. In your breath is the forest's breath. In the water, drop in your veins, is the moisture that once passed through the xylem of some ancient tree far away. We say we are conscious beings, knowing thought, knowing creation. But perhaps trees are also thinking in a different way. Not through words, but through energy correlations. The way they turn toward light, share nutrients, regenerate after storms, all are behaviors of understanding. When looking at a forest after a fire, you might think life has ended. But just weeks later, new sprouts begin to pierce through the ash. Trees don't need to be taught to resurrect. In their genes lies the memory of resurrection. And perhaps that memory also lies within us, just forgotten by the noise of the modern world. There's something strange. The deeper scientists observe root and soil structures, the more they realize what's happening below is not just biology, but a form of non-verbal cognition. Roots don't transmit information in sentences, but through electrical and chemical resonance. Each signal passing through a cell is a small decision, an adaptive response, akin to the human brain's learning mechanisms. Cell potentials change, calcium ions move, hormones are released, then reactions spread, like neurons transmitting nerve impulses. But unlike the human brain, where everything happens in an instant, in plants, everything is slower, deeper, like a thought unfolding at the speed of soil. That speed is what makes humans often overlook nature's intelligence. We are used to quick results, quick reactions, quick decisions. But trees are different. They live in the time of ripening. A seed can't force itself to bloom faster. It only blooms when the soil is warm enough, the light gentle enough, the first rain falls in rhythm. And in every moment of waiting, a natural meditation is occurring, the meditation of matter, understanding itself. Trees have no brain, but have presence, a full awareness of position, light, moisture, season, and even the living beings around them. They sense gravity, distinguish day and night, remember wind directions, and adjust biological rhythms to lunar cycles. Those responses are not random. They are manifestations of distributed intelligence, not centralized in one center, but in every cell, every sap vein, every tiny root thread. When we think, signals run through the nervous system in the skull. When trees think, signals run through vascular and root systems, a brain stretched across the entire body. Like humans, trees know choice, but their choices are based not on reason, but on biological intuition. They don't ask questions, but always have the right answer for conditions of existence. And that makes us wonder, is intelligence not just the ability to reason, but the ability to harmonize with the surrounding environment? One botanist once said, "Tree roots are ears, the trunk is nerves, and leaves are the planet's lungs." If so, then the Earth is not just an inert body, but a gigantic living being thinking through countless forms. From the Amazon rainforest to African savannas, from Vietnamese rice fields to northern snow forests, all are cells of a larger body, breathing together, circulating together, sharing the rhythm of life. And we, though small, are living in that body, a pulse in the planet's vital flow. From this perspective, humans are not outsiders, but a root branch seeking its network again. We are not above nature, but within it. When we feel lonely, perhaps it's because we've forgotten we're surrounded by billions of invisible connections, connections of air, water, energy, and biology. Trees are never lonely because they are always enveloped in a shared energy field. And perhaps what humans truly crave is not internet connection, but reconnection with life. If one day you walk barefoot on wet soil, you'll feel a strange sensation, cool, heavy, and slightly vibrating. That's not just physical sensation, it's the Earth's bioelectricity passing through you. Trees sense that electric current every day. Their roots carry negative potential, leaves positive. Between those two poles, electricity flows through, like blood in the human body. And that very current transports hormones, water, and information, a natural transmission system more sophisticated than any artificial technology we've created. When you touch a tree trunk, a small electrical pulse also spreads through the bark, signaling other cells of the contact, not with emotion, but with energy sensing. That's the language trees use to know the world is touching them. And to some extent, every time you touch nature, nature is touching back you, both physically and spiritually. Perhaps that's why humans feel peace in the forest, when walking barefoot on grass, when placing a hand on a trunk. Not because we're escaping the world, but because we're returning to the primal frequency of life, the frequency that trees, soil, and water have maintained for millions of years. That's where there's no past or future, only the present, where we feel we belong without reason. The tree roots beneath the soil never see light, but they are the foundation sustaining the entire forest. They teach us a simple lesson. The most important things always lie where no one sees. Like faith, like love, like consciousness. They don't need display, just deep enough existence to nourish the rest. And when we understand that, we also begin to realize that true intelligence lies not in noisy creation, but in quiet yet sustainable living. In the soil's darkness, the smallest things are building the greatest miracle, the continuity of life. A network, breathing, communicating, maintaining balance for this planet, every second, every minute. If you listen really carefully, you'll feel it, not with ears, but with the heart. A deep, slow, steady pulse, like the Earth's vein under your feet. And from that pulse, we can hear the faint call of something beyond human limits. An intelligence spreading through roots, through soil, through air, inviting us to step deeper into the journey of discovering ourselves. For from here, the story no longer stops at the soil's network. We will continue upward, following the flow of living sap through the trunk, where energy and hormones move like blood vessels, where biological signaling between base and crown reveals another form of intelligence. An intelligence that knows how to balance between light and shadow, between growth and rest, between life and the silence awaiting behind every breath of grass and tree. From where the tree roots quietly intertwine in the earth's embrace, the flow of life begins to rise, slowly but persistently, like an ancient prayer. Every water molecule, every mineral ion, every electrical signal is lifted along the trunk, defying gravity through growth rings to the leaves welcoming light. And right here, in the intersection between earth and sky, another layer of natural intelligence is revealed, the intelligence of flow. The trunk is not just a wooden pillar for support. It is the backbone of biological communication, where energy and information circulate ceaselessly. Every sap flow knows its destination, never lost. Water and nutrients move from roots to leaves through xylem. Photosynthetic products from leaves flow back down to roots through phloem. Between those opposing directions, absolute order is maintained. No central controller, no map, but every cell knows when to open, when to close, when to allow the flow to continue, and when to stop. Biologists call this oriented transport, but if observed intuitively, it resembles dynamic meditation, where the entire tree body becomes a stream of moving consciousness. Each water atom like a thought, each ion like a signal. And when billions of those thoughts harmonize, an awakening spreads throughout the trunk. In the tree world, hormones act like whispers. Among them, auxin stands out. A tiny molecule, but with the power to shape the entire form and direction of life. Auxin is produced at the tip, where the tree first receives light, then moves down to the roots. It is the language of polarity, the way trees know up from down, light side from shadow. When auxin concentration is higher on one side of the trunk, cells there expand faster, causing the trunk to bend toward the opposite, toward where light calls. As if in its very structure, the tree is programmed to seek enlightenment. But auxin is not alone. It coordinates with other hormones, cytokinin, gibberellin, ethylene, abscisic acid, creating a complex symphony where each note is a biological signal. When a leaf yellows, it's not death, but a purposeful biological decision. Ethylene hormone is released, cells at the petiole separate, and the remaining stem seals to prevent water loss. Trees don't fear decay because they understand loss is part of the cycle. Just like our breath, each exhale is a release, preparing for the next inhale. What's astonishing is that these hormone flows move via bioelectric currents, the tiny electricity invisible to the eye, but present in every cell. When roots detect environmental changes, a small electrical pulse is generated, racing up the trunk in seconds. That pulse triggers reactions in the leaves, causing stomata to close or open. The tree world seems slow, but inside, signals propagate faster than we think. No nerves, no brain, just electricity and sensitivity. Trees already know how to react instantly to the world around them. Another interesting thing, when morning light hits the leaves, an energy pulse travels through the whole tree, as if it is waking up. When dusk falls, melatonin hormone, known as the sleep hormone in humans, is also found in leaves, helping them rest and regenerate cells. Trees, like us, have biological rhythms, day and night, their own wakefulness and sleep. And in every rhythm, a miracle is unfolding. Solar energy is being transformed into life. Through photosynthesis, light is absorbed by the tree, converted into sugar molecules, energy source for all activities. But that's not just a chemical reaction. It's the universe's recreation on a micro scale. Photons, light particles from stars millions of light years away, now running through the xylem of a small tree right in front of your home. When you touch a leaf, you are touching light incarnated into living matter. Quantum physicists have described photosynthesis as an almost perfect phenomenon, not a single photon wasted. Every ray of light, no matter how small, is converted into an electron flow, passing through cell membranes, creating life. At that level, trees are masters of energy, proof of the perfect transformation between light and matter. And if we look deeper, we realize that process is no different from meditation, transforming the light of consciousness into the energy of existence. Trees don't live to survive. They live to manifest harmony. They teach us that energy is not for possession, but for spreading. A ray of light entering a leaf doesn't keep it for itself, but shares it through roots, nourishing other parts of the tree, then continuing through soil to other tiny beings. In that world, energy never stops. It only changes form, like breath, like water flow, like the cycles of the universe itself. And strangely, as trees operate in that rhythm, they never have to think about how to do it. They just do, because it's their nature, while humans, distant from nature, must learn to return to that rhythm, learn to listen, learn to breathe, learn to release, learn to live slowly to feel our own flow. If you could place a stethoscope on a trunk, you'd hear a very faint ticking sound. That's the sound of sap flowing. That's the sound of life, of communication, of movement. Not loud sound, but the earth's heartbeat, steady, warm, and never stopping. Inside the trunk, not just water and nutrients, but the memory of existence. Growth rings are traces of time, the way trees record years of favorable rains or droughts, storms past, and even gentle wind seasons. No writing, but each ring is a diary page that the earth writes in the language of time. And if we listen really carefully, we'll realize everything is moving, but never hurried. Every signal, every energy flow knows where it's going. No disorder, no effort, just flow. What humans still call by a familiar name, balance. For when a tree stands still, the energy within it still operates like a melody that never stops. And perhaps in that very silence, trees are teaching us something that science and meditation agree on. That life is not action, but the harmony among countless subtle actions. For when a tree stands still, the energy within it still operates like a melody that never stops. And perhaps, in that very silence, trees are teaching us something that science and meditation agree on. That life is not action, but the harmony among countless subtle actions. From that trunk, the journey of energy will continue upward, to the leaves, flowers, and winged seeds waiting for the wind. That is the journey against gravity, where life challenges the limits of matter. Water from the roots, carrying soil minerals, rises centimeter by centimeter, overcoming tens, even hundreds of meters to meet the light. No pump, no muscles, just the suction force of water evaporating from leaves, pulling the entire vital circuit like a taut string between earth and sky. When that water drop leaves the root, it carries the warmth of the earth's depths. When it reaches the canopy, it has become the sky's breath. Trees don't just absorb light, they dialogue with light. Each sun ray is a message, a signal decoded by millions of chlorophyll molecules hidden in the leaves. Blue light tells the tree it's morning. Red light announces the sun is setting. Fainter, distant light signals winter approaching. Leaves hear all those signals, not with ears, but with vibration frequencies. When a leaf quivers lightly in the wind, it's not just mechanical reaction. It's resonance between solar energy and the Earth's life rhythm. Inside that seemingly fragile leaf is an entire biological universe. Cells containing chloroplasts arranged like tiny mirrors, always turning to face the strongest light. In each cell, photosynthesis occurs, where photons, water, and carbon dioxide meet to form sugar, oxygen, and energy. That's nature's magic, where light becomes life and life becomes nourishment for the entire planet. No factory more refined, no technology more efficient. Every photon is utilized, not a single ray wasted. And if we see the tree as a being in meditation, then photosynthesis is its breath. Inhale, absorbing light, water, air. Exhale, releasing oxygen, giving energy back to the world. Each leaf is a green lung, breathing with us, with other beings. When we inhale the forest's breath. When we exhale, we nourish it back. Between human and tree, no boundaries, only endless exchange of life. Scientists once called leaves the emotional face of the tree. And indeed, leaves reflect the mood of the being they belong to. When the tree is full of sap, leaves expand, glossy, soft. When the tree is thirsty, light-deprived, or under biological stress, leaves contract, change color, withdraw. Those changes are the language trees use to communicate. Not speech, but light and form, the language of morphology. We too. When happy, our body expands. When afraid, we contract. Trees and humans, different forms, but sharing the same deep instinct, responding to the world with chemical emotions. A little-known fact, leaves can hear. In delicate experiments, it's been discovered that when trees are exposed to low-frequency sound vibrations, like wind, streams, or even classical music, their growth rate changes. Some flowers turn toward the sound source, as if leaning in to listen. No eardrums, but each leaf cell has thousands of ion channels sensitive to mechanical oscillations. When sound touches the leaf, those channels vibrate, creating faint electrical signals that spread throughout the trunk. And perhaps that's why when we speak gently to plants, they respond better. Not because they understand words, but because they sense the frequency of our heart. Light, sound, and moisture. 3 elements trees sense like 3 different forms of consciousness. Light tells them direction. Sound tells them the world's movement. Moisture is the shared breath between them and the atmosphere. When morning dew clings to leaves, trees absorb moisture not just to live, but to read information. Humidity, temperature, and the rhythm of sky changes. Trees don't just exist in nature, they become nature. And we, in modern life, often forget that we too were once part of that cycle. We are surrounded by artificial sounds, artificial light, hurried breaths. But when we step outside, look up through the canopy, we feel what trees always know. That light doesn't just come from outside, it comes from within too, from the silent energy every being carries. A leaf, from afar, is just a fragile green piece. But up close, it's a mirror reflecting life, where the universe incarnates into form, color, rhythm. A falling leaf to the ground is not the end of a life cycle, but a return, giving energy back to soil, for soil to send up to trees again, for trees to reach for the sky again. That cycle never stops, just like the planet's breath. And when that energy has passed through the leaf, through the breath, it continues another journey, subtler and more wondrous, the journey of becoming color, scent, flower, where life is no longer just exchange, but becomes the language of beauty, where trees first speak to the world with fragrance and hue. And there, in the moment of blooming, we will see that nature too knows love, knows to call, knows to invite, just in a slower, deeper, and purer way than any love humans have ever known. And then, from that silent breath's rhythm, a wondrous thing happens. The tree begins to flower. Without a sound, without announcement, just a silent transformation of life. From a tiny bud, a strange color emerges like dawn after a long night. Each flower is a love confession of the universe, the result of millions of chemical reactions arranged to perfect precision, yet light as a dream. When we see a flower blooming, we often find it beautiful. But for the tree, the flower is not just beauty, but the language of continuation. Flowers are reproductive organs, where life entrusts its future. But trees don't choose crude or mechanical ways to sustain their kind. They choose art. They seduce the world with scent, color, and blooming rhythm. Each flower species has its own frequency of fragrance, of hue, and of timing. Some bloom at dawn, some wait until night, some only open petals in the full moon moment. It seems trees too know how to choose their golden hour for love. In the plant world, scent is the language of emotion. When a lavender blooms its scent, it not only intoxicates humans, but sends messages to bees, butterflies, and wind. In every scent molecule, there is information about species, gender, and pollen ripeness. One botanist once said, "If humans could hear scents like music, they would see each flower species sings its own melody. Jasmine sings high notes of the night. Rose sings deep, sweet notes of dawn. Orchids intone a nearly meditative frequency, deep, long, and spreading. Trees don't speak, but flowers are their voice, the symphony between biology and emotion. Fragrance is chemical waves. Colors are light waves, and when those two waves meet in the air, they create an emotional field that every being senses, consciously or unconsciously. Bees come not just for nectar, but for energy resonance. Their wings vibrate at a frequency close to the flower's petal oscillation, and in that instant, the universe seems to pause, a melody without echo, but spreading in the air. Trees understand well the law of giving and receiving. They don't hoard nectar, hide fragrance, or claim shares. They give and thereby continue. When bees take nectar, they simultaneously carry pollen, seeds of the new generation. That's not random, but the principle of natural love. Giving not because of loss, but to spread life. But flowers don't just call bees. They call wind, water, light too. Some species only bloom when the first seasonal thunder rumbles, as a sign that the sky has changed, the soil has softened. Some only bloom in darkness, where fragrance is the only light. Those petals whisper to the universe, "I am ready for renewal." From a meditation perspective, the blooming moment is the tree's enlightenment. After months of gathering energy, enduring storms, rain, sun, cold, the tree doesn't explode, doesn't boast. It simply opens gently. No noise, no drama, but beautiful enough to make all things pause. That's wordless opening, the perfect symbol of non-action, acting without action, shining without burning. Scientists have discovered that right before flowering, bioelectrical energy in the tree surges. A small electrical flow runs along the trunk, activating phlorogen hormone, the trigger for the flowering process. Electricity, light, and fragrance, three elements in harmony, creating the moment life transcends matter. And when the flower bursts open, the tree becomes a gateway between two worlds, the visible world of form and the invisible world of energy. If leaves are breath, then flowers are the tree's heart. That's where energy not only circulates, but vibrates, where the tree expresses its emotions with hue and scent. Those who live near nature know, each flowering season the air changes, not just by smell, but because the energy frequency in space shifts. Flowers bring a sense of expansion, gentleness, freshness, as if the air itself is smiling. Flowers also hold the soil's memory. Their colors reflect the minerals of their birthplace. Their scents are symphonies between wind and humidity, between root depth and sky height. They are poetic translations of the environment, translating every physical element into emotion, into beauty, into joy. If you place two pots of the same flower species in two different places, their scents will differ. Because flowers are mirrors of the land, the way earth speaks in smell and color. And when the flower fades, the tree doesn't grieve. For the flower was never the end. The flower is just a bridge, where life shifts from light to seed. Petals falling is not loss, but a return ritual, for energy to transform into a new form. Seed, a sleeping soul waiting to awaken. When the flower fades, energy is passed to the seed, like a final breath before entering long sleep. But the seed's sleep is not death, it is life's meditation. A perfect silence where all that the tree once was, light, water, minerals, sounds, memories, is compressed into a point so small it seems meaningless. And precisely in that smallness, the entire memory of the universe is preserved. Seeds don't just carry genetic information, but the ancestors' experience. Modern research shows seeds can sense their surroundings, moisture, temperature, light, Earth's magnetic field. They don't germinate randomly, but wait for the right time. As if they know when spring comes, when the first rain will fall, and when the sun is warm enough for life to begin again. If we could view a seed with meditative eyes, we would see it like an ascetic sitting still in darkness. No movement, no expression, but inside is a storm of latent energy. DNA in the seed, long twisted strands like incantations, is sleeping. Each gene and syllable, each genetic code a note waiting to be activated. Just a small signal from the soil, a drop of water, a ray of light, and the entire symphony awakens. And from the darkness, the green sprout rises like life's response to the universe. Science calls that process germination, sprouting. But viewed philosophically, it's rebirth. From death, a new form arises. From silence, sound rings out. From darkness, light is recreated. And that cycle happens billions of times in every nook of the planet, without human control, without divine oversight, just the pure will of life manifesting itself. When the seed begins to open, the hard, dry shell cracks. From that crack, the young sprout pushes up, roots dig down. It has no eyes, but knows which way is soil, which way sky. No map, but remembers the path to where it belongs. Biologists call it tropism memory, innate cellular orientation. But under the meditator's gaze, that's the soul's memory, the deepest part in every being always knowing the way back to light. Trees never fear being born. They just wait for the right time. For they understand not every light is warm, not every rain gentle, not every soil welcoming. So they wait. And in that waiting, the seed becomes the symbol of quiet faith. If you hold a small seed in your hand, you may be holding an entire future forest. Inside the dry shell, all biology's miracles sleep. Enzymes wait to activate, embryonic cells wait to divide, chemical energy waits to release. But the strange thing is, they don't worry, don't rush. The seed trusts the universe enough to rest. Like a person knowing that when the time comes, everything will open by itself, no forcing needed. During that time, the soil embraces the seed like a mother's lap. Every mineral, moisture, microbe resonates to nourish that resurrection. The entire underground system, fungal networks, roots, symbiotic bacteria, transmits, exchanges signals, helping the seed sense the world before it surfaces. Some scientists call it Wood Wide Web, the forest's internet. And wondrously, when we realize every living being is connected, not by cables, but by biological faith. From a single seed, a tree grows. From that tree, 100 flowers bloom, 1,000 seeds born. Thus, the endless circle of life continues. No beginning, no end, only transformation. And in every stage, and from seed to sprout, leaf to flower, flower to seed, life always holds one thing: awareness of direction, toward light, toward sky, toward expansion. Trees don't compete for light, they share it. In the forest, tall trees create shade for small ones. When a tree falls, its gap becomes opportunity for the new generation. No competition, only circulation. And at the deepest level, that's no different from the universe's operation, where energy never lost, only changes form. So when we see a seed falling to soil, don't think it's the end. Think the universe is whispering, "I will begin again." Each seed is an Earth's thought, a wish written in life's language. And perhaps within each human there are such seeds, dreams, memories, soul parts waiting for their own spring to sprout again. In the forest's deepest breath, we can feel something beyond biology, a shared consciousness spreading among all things. Trees don't think, but know. Wind doesn't speak, but transmits. Soil doesn't move, but renews. Everything seems to have its own intelligence. A silent intelligence, not from the mind, but from absolute harmony. Modern science is beginning to touch what ancient meditators once felt. Recent studies show trees emit microelectrical signals to communicate when injured. They can warn other trees of insects. They change hormone levels when sensing sound frequencies or magnetic fields. Those vibrations are no different from human brain waves, just in a different band, slower, deeper, and more enduring. As if the earth is thinking, but at the speed of patience. If we could hear with the heart, perhaps we would sense that dialogue. Between roots and soil, between leaves and light, between rain and sky. A wordless language where every interaction is a greeting, every vibration an answer. In silence, trees are not alone. They are speaking to the world through their very existence. And also in that silence, humans realize we've never stood outside. We are always the continuation of that network. Our breath is the tree's sky gas. Our heartbeat syncs with the planet's oscillation. The electrical signals in our brain travel with the same essence as the energy flow in tree trunks. We think we are nature's observers, but really, we are nature temporarily knowing it is observing. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "When we look deeply into a leaf, we see a cloud in it. For without clouds, no rain. Without rain, trees can't grow." Looking at the leaf, we see sky, earth, water, wind, fire, and time. Just as when we look deeply into ourselves, we see ancestors, forest, sea, and universe all there, merged as one. No true boundaries separate us from trees, from stars, from infinity. There are rare moments when the mind stops, when breath dissolves into air, we feel a state indescribable by words, where observer and observed merge as one. That's the non-self the enlightened ones spoke of, but also the starting point of all life. For only when no separation, energy flows freely, and trees, with their perfect stillness, are the model of that state. From the universe's root view, everything is a manifestation of the same energy stream. The sunlight leaves absorb is the result of nuclear reactions 8 light minutes ago. The nutrients roots draw up are minerals formed from ancient star remnants. And we ourselves, breathing beings, are composed of those atoms, stardust once burning in distant skies. The universe is not out there. The universe lies in every breath we take. Trees remind us we don't need to understand everything to live in harmony. They don't question light's purpose, yet receive it every dawn. They don't worry about the future, yet trust soil, trust water, trust spring's return. Perhaps that's the natural wisdom humans are losing, the ability to trust existence's rhythm. And then, in the night settling, when the forest sinks into stillness, that energy still spreads. From roots to soil, soil to air, air to sky, and back in the first morning dewdrops. A closed cycle yet open spiral, never stopping, never truly ending. Everything is moving, though we don't see. Everything is conversing, though we don't hear. And in that endless movement there's a profound quiet, where the entire universe is meditating. If you listen long enough, you might hear that rhythm. Trees' rhythm, Earth's rhythm, your own, all blending like a silent water flow through time. No beginning, no end. Just life breathing with your sleep. And perhaps that's what trees want to say in the language of silence. that everything you're seeking outside has always been inside, that every vibration you send, the universe hears, and that in this silence, you are not alone. And when we sit in silence long enough, something strange begins to happen. We begin to hear life speaking in silence's frequency. Not the sound of wind, not bird calls, but something deeper, light as the earth's heartbeat, as time's breath threading through every leaf vein. In that moment, we realize trees are not silent as we once thought. They still speak, still sing, still send silent messages across space. It's just humans have forgotten how to listen. Scientists call this phenomenon bioacoustics, biological acoustics. They've discovered that tree roots produce low-frequency sound pulses, around 220 hertz, when navigating soil. Each time a root hits an obstacle, that sound signal changes, as if the tree is asking the ground which way to go. When encountering water, the frequency softens, like an exhale. Trees, in a sense, are singing the song of survival with sound waves. But what amazes scientists more is that other trees can hear that song. When one root emits sound, other roots respond. They curve toward it, seeking the signal like kindred spirits. No wires, no words, just vibration, transmitted through soil, water, air. A slow symphony, not for human ears, but for the universe's heart. In meditation, it's often said that silence is the soul's sound.
Trees seem to understand that better than anyone.
They don't use noise to communicate, they use synchrony. When a tree is cut, burned, or touched, its electrical oscillation rhythm changes, and surrounding trees sense it. Sometimes in seconds, the entire forest responds, like a giant body with a shared nervous system. Those changes are too subtle for the naked eye, but the universe hears. And sometimes, in the wind passing through the forest, we too hear it, not with ears, but with skin, with breath, with the opening heart. If humans once learned to speak to each other with radio waves, with the internet, then trees have done it with their own biological structure. Roots are wires, fungi are switches, water is transmission, and solar energy is power source. Every time a ray of light touches a leaf, it activates a small electron flow through cells, creating a light-sound bioelectric signal stream, blending into one message. We can call it the forest's nervous system, or simply consciousness breathing in plant form. Some modern physiologists are beginning to ask, do trees have memory? Can they remember dry seasons, rains, hands that once touched them? And the answer, it seems, is yes. When a tree has endured drought, next time it reacts faster, adjusts hormones sooner, as if remembering thirst. When a seed germinates in low light, its sapling, even elsewhere, still carries stronger phototropism, as if memory is passed through DNA. But some memories aren't in genes. They lie in the resonant energy between beings. A forest once burned, when regenerating, its young trees grow with different energy oscillation rhythms, stronger, more resilient, as if recording the old soil's wound. We call that resonance memory, vibrational memory. And if humans are also made of that energy, perhaps every pain, every love, every touch of nature leaves a silent sound trace somewhere in space. Trees don't forget. They remember with light, with water, with wind, with soil's taste. Every time we pass through a forest, the forest knows we've come. No identification needed, just the vibration of heartbeat, breath, body frequency. The forest records it all, like the planet's emotional bank. And in the night silence, when artificial frequencies settle, those recordings still play back, gentle as deep sleep. The ancients once believed trees have souls, dryads, wood spirits dwelling in trunks. Perhaps that's not just myth. Perhaps the soul they felt was the bioelectrical information stream science now measures. The peace felt when touching a trunk perhaps comes from our frequency syncing with it, like two notes harmonizing in a chord. No magic here, just science and meditation meeting in the same wave. And right at the boundary where science meets meditation, we begin to see a wordless intelligence, a perception not from thought but from empathy among all life layers. When scientists measure tree bioelectricity, they see it oscillating with light cycles, wind rhythms, hand warmth touching. When meditators sit under the canopy, they feel energy rising from soil, threading the spine, blending with breath. That's one phenomenon, interpreted in two languages. Biophysicists call this energy field resonance. When two systems vibrate at one frequency, they exchange information without material medium. Meditators call it mind synchrony. When the mind quiets, we hear all things voice. Two paths, but leading to the same mountain, where human consciousness merges with nature's life rhythm. Trees need no brain because they themselves are a living neural network. From roots to leaves, from sap veins to stomata, every cell knows how to talk to each other. When light changes, electrical signals travel in seconds. When soil dries, alarm hormones are sent to deeper roots for water uptake. Everything happens not by command, but by innate understanding, an intelligence of unity. If humans are the music of thought, trees are the music of existence. They don't think about life. They are life. They don't question the future. They live in the present. And perhaps that's why their stillness calms the human mind, as if our body recognizes a primal frequency it once belonged to. Modern experiments have recorded the tiniest sounds trees emit under stress, like when drought-stricken, cut, or injured. Those clicks in the ultrasonic range, sounding like heartbeats, spread through air and soil. No one can hear with ordinary ears, but sensors record them clearly. Rhythm, pitch, frequency, all species-specific. Some call it cries for help, others call it survival songs. But if we listen with the heart, perhaps it's just life's pulse, like our heartbeat when sad, joyful, loving, fearful. Different expressions, but same emotional root. Trees don't cry, but know pain. Don't laugh, but know happiness. When watered, touched, or hearing music, their bioelectrical flow changes. More stable, gentler, measurable by sensors. And when we enter the forest, our body changes too. Cortisol levels drop, heartbeat slows, alpha brain waves increase, the state of deep natural meditation. Trees and us, seemingly different beings, but really two expressions of the same energy source. If we could see with energy eyes, everything would glow. Trees emit faint green light of oxygen, humans golden glow of heartbeat, soil warm brown of nutrients. When we touch a tree, those two auras intersect, blending into a new light band, not big, not bright, just enough for both to know they're connected. No words, no concepts, just full presence. That's where science stops, and meditation begins. Where measurement touches the immeasurable, and the immeasurable reflects in every cell. Perhaps trees never intended to teach humans anything. They just exist, and in that existence we see ourselves. Like a lake reflecting the sky, the forest reflects our mind. When the mind stirs, the forest rustles. When the mind stills, the forest quiets. And sometimes, just standing in the forest, we've already meditated, without trying. When night falls and the world's human noises fade, we can hear another breath, slower, deeper, and older than humanity. That's the planet's breath. Earth is not just where we live, but a living body itself, with rivers as blood vessels, forests as lungs, land as skin, and heartbeat as the quiet spin around the sun. Trees, humans, birds, insects, water, clouds, all small organs in that body, coexisting, operating to a grand score without a conductor, except life's own laws. When we inhale, leaves exhale. When we exhale, leaves inhale. Those seemingly separate actions are actually one complete cycle of the same breath. In every moment, billions of beings exchange energy, like notes forming the planet's melody. If we could hear with universe's ears, we would hear Earth singing, not in words, but in light oscillations, wind, water, and biological rhythm. From deep in the Earth's core, geothermal energy ceaselessly rises, like the planet's silent heartbeat. From the atmosphere, charged ion streams move, creating energy fields linking everything alive. Humans sense it unknowingly. We call it intuition, inspiration, wordless synchrony. But truly, it's biological signals the planet sends through the invisible network of living energy. Ecologists call this the Gaia hypothesis. Earth as a self-regulating biological system, like a body capable of healing and maintaining its own balance. When the atmosphere changes, forests adjust carbon absorption. When temperature rises, oceans respond, clouds thicken, light dims, like a giant body's immune system self-regulating fever. Every being, small as a leaf or large as a mountain, contributes to that stability, a dance that never stops. And in that dance, humans, though thinking themselves controllers, are really just one beat in the endless rhythm chain. Our heartbeats average 70 times a minute, but the planet's rhythm, rotation cycles, seasons, tides, reproduction, beats over thousands of years. If our mind is still enough, we'll feel that slowness flow into our blood. All worries become tiny, all fears dissolve into wind-like energy, because we are breathing with Earth. Modern science is proving what ancients knew. Everything in nature emits frequencies. Water oscillates at 432 hertz, frequency seen as harmonious with Earth. Trees respond to sounds in 100 to 1000 hertz range. Human brain enters deep meditation when waves drop to 8 hertz, matching Schumann resonance, Earth's natural magnetic frequency. When we meditate, when we sleep deeply, our brain is actually syncing with the planet's frequency. Perhaps that's why after deep sleep we always feel our mind at peace, though the world outside remains noisy. If trees are symbols of stillness, Earth is symbol of breath. Trees inhale and exhale, land swells with seasons, clouds shift with heat. Everything moves, slowly but persistently. Life never stops, only transforms form to adapt, like breath never lost, just renamed from one being to another, from one organism to another. And in meditation's depth, we can feel it clearly. When the mind settles, we no longer hear our own voice, but Earth's voice within us. A very faint, low, steady hum, like waves in the deep sea. It doesn't come from ears, but from the chest, where our heart beats to the planet mother's rhythm. That's no longer emotion, but merger. Perhaps Earth knows how to dream too. Every morning when dew rises from fields, when sun touches forest peaks, we see the planet dreaming in light. Every night, when stars rise and wind stills, we hear the planet dreaming in darkness. And in that dream, we too exist, as a small thought stream in Gaia's giant mind. If we could see the big picture, perhaps the universe sees Earth as a being in meditation, oceans as mind, clouds as breath, rivers as energy veins, forests as memory, and humans with all joy, fear, dreams, prayers, just fleeting thoughts in the planet's millions of years meditation. And in that great planetary meditation, humans are just tiny thoughts, transient, but capable of self-knowing their existence. A rare moment in cosmic history when life not only breathes, not only moves, but looks back at itself and asks, "Who am I in this whole?" From the Earth's depths, Earth doesn't judge. It doesn't need answers. It just listens. Every footstep, every structure, every human heartbeat is recorded in the living energy field surrounding the planet. When we rejoice, that field brightens. When we rage, it vibrates strongly. When we meditate, That field quiets, light as morning dew. Whether we realize or not, all humanity's emotions become part of the planet's breath. Perhaps that's why we always feel peace returning to nature. Forest, sea, sand, wind, they don't just relax us, they readjust our frequency, bringing chaotic minds back to the original rhythm we once shared with Earth. Every wave crash, not just water rhythm, but ancient reminder. Child, you still belong here. In stillness, the planet still converses with us in soft signs. Dawn light through window, early bird calls, damp soil scent after rain. We call it beautiful nature, but truly it's love's language, which humans once understood before words, then gradually forgot amid future worries. If trees are Earth's cells, humans are thoughts unfolding in its dream. Cities, car noises, neon lights, data streams, all extensions of the same biosphere. Earth doesn't oppose those changes. It absorbs, adjusts, responds, sometimes with storms, sometimes droughts, like a body reminding us of balance limits. But even in chaos, harmony exists. Though cities noisy, Earth still spins evenly. Though humans contend, rain falls on good and bad alike. That's the planet's compassion, an intelligence needing no morality, just understanding all are linked. We can call it quantum physics, ecology, or simply Mother Earth's love for every life form. And if the planet is meditating, perhaps humans are learning to awaken within Earth's dream. Every time we still, we help Earth breathe steadier. Every time we love, we send healing energy through space, like reviving blood vessels for the planet's body. Those small things, a smile, a slow breath, a gentle tree touch, may be changing the world's entire frequency. In meditation, it's said, when one finds true silence, the world becomes a bit less chaotic. Perhaps that's true at the physical level, for energy doesn't disappear. It spreads, resonates, harmonizes. And every time a soul stills, the planet inhales a bit deeper. Science can measure brain waves, electric fields, Schumann frequencies, but perhaps still can't measure the peace spreading when one truly abides. Like we can't measure summer's first rain scent or sunlight feeling through leaf gaps. That's the soul's realm, where science and meditation no longer separate, but merge in Earth's breath. And so in every sleep, when mind drops worries, when body dissolves into night, we are not just resting. We are being lulled by the planet. Our breath blends with forest breath. Our heart's heat melts into soil's heat. Our dreams become the world's dream. In that dream, perhaps we'll hear something. A distant call, gentle as wind, deep as sea heart, saying, "You are never alone. You are my pulse." And when we wake, sky is light. First day's sun rays on face, light as a touch. No need to understand, no need to name. Just know Earth is still breathing, and we are still in that breath. When light gradually fades, space doesn't disappear. It just becomes more transparent, quieter, as if the universe itself is exhaling a long breath. All movement slows, all energy waves cool, and in that instant, we feel something very strange. The universe needs rest, too. Not death, but stillness between two beats of infinity. A moment where energy gathers itself, where light withdraws to source, and everything dissolves in darkness. Night comes to the planet like it comes to every soul. When sky begins to tint, when canopies stop photosynthesizing, when wind gentles, and the whole world seems to lower its frequency to a deeper, softer level, Earth knows meditation too. Every dusk is a reminder that every living system needs to cease oscillation to rebalance. And humans, though always busy with work, thoughts, plans, still can't escape that law. When we enter sleep, the body does what the universe has done since primordial times. Enter silence to regenerate. The brain slows, waves drop from beta to alpha, then theta, then delta. That frequency, 0.5 to 4 Hertz, nearly matches the deep oscillation of Earth's magnetic field. Scientists call it Schumann resonance, the planet's 7.83 Hertz heartbeat. Every deep sleep, we are not just resting, we are readjusting our rhythm to blend with Earth's breath. Sleep is the bridge between physics and mysticism. When consciousness retreats, the body still works. Heart beats, blood circulates, cells regenerate. Just as when sun hides, the planet still turns, wind still blows, oceans carry hidden flows. Nothing truly stops, just life shifting to dream state. And in that dream, boundaries between human and universe dissolve. We fly, fall, meet the gone, travel unseen places. Science says dreams are brain data reorganization, when brain untangles, stores, restructures memories. But deeper, perhaps that's when individual consciousness merges with universal consciousness. We are allowed to touch the common wisdom sea, where energy, emotion, memory, and soul of all life blend into one. Perhaps that's why in dreams we sense what waking can't, a lost one, a hunch, a strange yet familiar scene. For in sleep we look with universe's eyes, not just our own. Humans once thought themselves tiny creatures in endless universe. But from another view, perhaps universe dreams of humans. Each individual, each life, just a small dream in universe's giant sleep, self-contemplating. When we dream, perhaps universe is self-looking through our mind, checking, after billions of years, what light learned from darkness. Cosmology science calls universe expansion and contraction universe's breath. From Big Bang to Big Freeze, perhaps Big Crunch, no different from a giant inhale-exhale cycle. In a timeline longer than imagination, universe too has day-night, youth-old age, life-sleep. A star blazes, shines millions of years, then dims, collapses to neutron star, black hole, not death, but matter's deep sleep, for energy to rest and shift form. Just like humans in sleep, we don't vanish. We just turn inward. Where energy rests, mind cleans, soul self-heals. That's why upon waking, we feel reborn, lighter, brighter, more serene. Sleep is a small version of death without loss, rehearsal ritual for rebirth. If you look through deep telescope, you'll see pitch-black space regions, where light can't escape, matter compressed to infinity. That's black holes, but don't think end. Inside, physicists suspect may be seeds of other universes. This universe sleeps. Another begins dreaming. Like when you sleep, you create hundreds of other worlds in your mind. Infinite worlds in infinite dreams. So, stars' death is just sleep. Humans' death, just rest. Universe's death, just silence between two lights. Nothing disappears. Everything just changes form. Breath becomes wind. Light ray becomes memory. Voice becomes vibration. And all blends into silence, life's deepest layer. In silence, all waves return to origin frequency. If we listen deeply, not with ears but heart, we'll hear a very small sound. Not loud, not echoing, just presence. That's universe's breathing rhythm. A great Om, resounding not in sound but in existence. Ancient Indians called it Nada Brahma, universe's sound. Ancient Greeks said, spheres have music. Celestial spheres have their music. And meditators just smile. When mind quiets, universe sings. Perhaps every time we enter sleep, we return to that symphony, where every being, from grass to human, is a small note in infinity's score. When we breathe slow, our heartbeat matches Schumann rhythm. When brain waves descend, we return to forest's frequency, seas, soils. Sleep not just biological reflex, it's natural meditation act, where we no longer control, no longer resist, just drift. Drift through perception boundaries, drift through thought noises, drift into space where only being exists. Neuroscientists observe that in deep sleep, the brain region processing ego nearly shuts off. No more I, no other. Just harmonious energy stream between body and earth, heart and magnetic field. From meditation view, that's samadhi, absolute dissolution state. No dreamer, no dream scene, just dream. If you've ever seen someone sleeping deeply, their face expressionless, breath deep, heartbeat slow, that's universe in meditation miniature. A world resting, but still living. A breath pausing, but life pulse still spreading far. Human sleep is perfect replica of universe sleep, both forms of energy rebalancing. When energy has flowed everywhere, it needs return to neutral point, like a string after vibrating needs quiet to hold sound longer. Universe too. It needs quiet so eternal sound never fades. And then, in deepest sleep, when all thoughts dissolve, when breath nearly stops, only one thing remains, consciousness without name. Not, I am sleeping, but sleep happening through me. Not, I exist, but existence borrowing my form to breathe. That's the moment we and universe are no longer two. In night's quiet veil, we don't know who we are, from where, going where, but we don't need to know. For in depths, we are right where needed, in eternity's heart. Perhaps somewhere out there, billions of stars are sleeping too. And as they sleep, their light still travels, like dreams sent never dissolving. That light will reach someone, somewhere, millions of years later, like a small message. I once existed. I once blazed. And though now sleeping, I still dream. Sleep, thus, is faith's art. We close eyes, release all control, entrust entire life to universe. And universe embraces us, like mother holds child, water holds stone, sky holds starlight. No fear, just dissolution. And in that dissolution, we begin to understand. Universe never a place to fear, but a dream to rest in. All daytime movements, noises, efforts just lead us here, where darkness no longer threat, but warm blanket of eternity. If we listen really carefully, we'll hear light wind threading leaves, earth breathing under feet, and somewhere, in invisible space, universe's pulse, a pulse we also carry in our heart. So let this night become harmony's night. Let body dissolve into earth's breath, mind into star whispers, consciousness into silent ocean welcoming us from time's beginning. Don't fear darkness, for in darkness, universe still dreams. And that dream is you. From deep silence of universe sleep, a small vibration gently rises, faint, soft, but enough to change entire space rhythm. No one knows where it starts, perhaps in a dust speck's heart, from a dreaming star's breath, or from eternity's silence after darkness's final breath. But wherever origin, that vibration is dawn's first call of cosmic morning. Light returns not with explosion, but with breath. Each photon particle like awakened, moving through lingering dream darkness. Space, silent for billions years, gradually warms, like planet's body after endless winter night. And from that silence, life begins again. Earth inhales first light breath of new day. Oceans gently stir. Forest opens eyes with bird songs. Everything seems just restarted. But truly, nothing begins, just continues. For in universe, no starts nor ends, only cycles of wake and sleep, light and dark, birth and dissolution. Just like humans after deep sleep, universe doesn't return exactly as before. It wakes with dreams memory. When sun rises after long night, we don't just see light. We see symphony of all previous risings. That light carries memory of every past day, every sleep aiding its rebirth. And in that moment, we understand every sleep, planetary or human, is a form of learning. When Earth sleeps, it gathers energy. When we sleep, we gather soul. When universe sleeps, it gathers its infinite creation ability. Dawn, not yesterday's repeat, but purer version of same song. New light spreads not just illuminating matter, but awakening awareness. Trees open leaves, seeds sprout. Wind restarts atmospheric circulations, humans open eyes. But in that opening, we may feel something different, as if after long night, a deep part in us also just reborn. Sometimes awakening comes not from big events, but from morning's light breath, a sun ray through curtain, a dewdrop reflecting whole sky, distant small bird call, all rituals of return. In every small detail we realize world never left. It just hid to teach us remembrance. If universe sleep is dissolution into silence, then universe dawn is perception's rise. Perception, not knowledge, not knowing more, but seeing everything again with new eyes. When humans truly wake, morning light not just hits eyes but heart, dissolving habit fog, memory, things thought known. We begin seeing trees as first sight, sky as never before sky. And in that awakening, science and meditation meet again. Science says life restarts thanks to energy. Meditation says life restarts thanks to awareness. Both right, for energy and awareness, just two sides of same light. One moves, the other understands. When both present, universe truly lives. When we inhale first breath after sleep, lungs not just take oxygen, but universe's rebirth memory. Every atom in us once part of star, once blazed, once disintegrated, traveled billions light years before becoming blood, skin, breath. So when we open eyes, universe also opens eyes through us. We not just dawn observers, we are dawn observing itself. True rebirth not when world changes, but when our world view changes. When we see beauty in ordinary, sunray touching leaf, someone's sleep breath beside, distant insect sound, we reborn. When we stop wanting to master universe but harmonize with it, we reborn. When we realize dawn not out there but in our own breath, we become part of eternal creation cycle. Earth, too. After each night, this planet not returns same, renewed by billions small interactions. Water evaporates, dew condenses, solar energy reactivates all biocircuits. Trees never grow exactly like yesterday, and humans no longer self-copies. Each day, new existence version, written on light and darkness memory. In this cycle, sleep, dream, wake, dawn not separate, but four beats of same melody. Without night, no day value. Without sleep, no freshness of awakening. Without dissolution, no rebirth. Universe understands that best, so repeats that melody ceaselessly, each time with new nuance, gentler, deeper, brighter. And when we view dawn knowing everything returning, we no longer see life as random chain, but journey with heartbeat, memory, love. Trees grow not just for photosynthesis, but to reach lightward. Humans live not just instinct, but to feel, love, reconnect, bond with whole. Universe rebirth, not just physics, it's forgiveness art. Forgiving self, time, every past mistake. For only in release, light has space to return. And in that dawn, no right or wrong, just continuation of what began from infinite. If you quiet, you can feel it now. Light not just on sky, but flooding skin, through breath, deep into heart, awakening ancient memory there. You never separated from universe. You not seeing light. You are light seeing itself. And thus, cycle closes, but never stops. Each dawn not just new day start, but first step of next dream. Universe wakes again to continue dreaming, creating loving by living once more through every being. Somewhere in morning stillness, trees welcome first sunlight, and if you listen deep enough, you'll hear faint sound from within, a very small whisper, like life's own voice reminding you, no endings, only gentler returns. And so, light fills world again, calling humans, calling planet, calling universe, to wake together, to start next life dream. After dawn, when first rays pierce thin mist, forest begins its conversation again, not with sound, but in visible rhythm, where every leaf, every root thread, every fragrance gust joins same symphony. Perhaps this is when Earth's consciousness starts waking after night's long sleep. If listen really carefully, we'll realize forest never silent. Underground, billions fungal threads form interwoven network, where one tree's roots touch another's, transmitting electrical signals, warning molecules, subtle chemical messages. Ecologists call it mycorrhizal network, but ancients perhaps simply forest's soul. In that network, each tree a neuron, each sap stream a nerve impulse. When one tree attacked by pests, signal spreads, others react before danger nears. When rain approaches, whole forest reduces transpiration to prepare. When sun prolongs, roots share water, like tiny blood streams exchanging life. Forest not just lives, forest thinks. From plant neurobiology view, root electrical signals form similar to animal neural waves. Each current a decision, go or stay, absorb or release, grow or rest. But if viewed with meditative eyes, that's not just mechanism, but collective mind, a distributed consciousness, where intelligence not in one brain, but in whole biosphere linkage. Humans once believed only we know thinking, emotion, organization, prediction. But nature, in its silence, has done that for billions years without words. Trees sense gravity, light, moisture, chemicals, vibration frequencies, even electrical currents from other beings. When we enter forest, our body changes too. Heartbeat slows, brain waves sync with environment's low oscillation frequency. Science calls this forest bathing. But deep essence is human nervous system remerging into planet's neural network. When light glides through leaf layer, each photon carries decision. Absorb, reflect, or store in living sap. In each decision, choice. Primitive but precise intelligence form. And expanding view, whole ecosystem deciding together. Rivers adjust flow to cloud breath. Wind shifts direction with temperature changes to balance forest. Trees regulate CO2, oceans absorb oxygen, everything holds each other in fragile balance. That's ecological consciousness, not individual consciousness, but interaction consciousness. No one commands, but all operate. No one masters, but all have roles. No one speaks, but everything understood. And when we stand in that forest, deeply inhaling soil's damp scent, hearing leaves touch like ancient whispers, we begin realizing important thing. We never separated from that neural system. Our blood carries same elements as soil. Our breath carries same gas trees just released. Meaning when forest thinks, part in us thinks too. At deeper level, quantum physicists say every universe particle connected, not just space, but information. A photon emitted here still linked to twin particle there, though billions light years apart. If so, forest consciousness may not stop at Earth. It may spread to existence's edge. Perhaps each forest a neuron in cosmic brain. Our planet just small fold in space-time's thought stream. When looking at tree, don't just see trunk, leaves, roots. See communication gateway. Tree not just absorbs light, transforms light into thought, into life form. Branches touching air not to occupy space, but to touch sky consciousness. Roots delving deep not to cling, but to touch earth memory. Every wood cell, every sap vein, every pollen grain, all messages, characters in ancient living language we're just rereading. Humans once called this forest, but to universe just active brain piece. A wet neural network drenched in life where information and energy merge as one. And if we learn listening, perhaps we'll hear dialogues between ancient trees and young moss, between seed and wind, between light and soil. When our consciousness touches forest consciousness, we no longer observers. We become part of that thought, Earth system's neuron, echo in nature's invisible dialogue. And when that happens, we no longer feel lonely. For finally, we realize, life never chain of separate beings, but great thinking machine, dreaming its own dream. After forest wakes and begins thinking, we realize what's operating not just exchange between tree and soil, but Earth's memory. Memory deeper than any civilization, older than any language, quieter than any human prayer. Every wind gust through valley, every dust grain in rock heart, every wave crash on shore. All lines in planet's great memory book. Earth doesn't forget. It records every movement, every footprint, every breath. Millions years pass. Though mountains erode, seas reshape, forests shed skin, all data still stored, not in computers, but world atomic structure. Tonight's raindrop may once lain in ancient ocean birthing first creatures. Your body carbon atom, once part of leaf, bird, or even star, died billions years ago. Earth not just where we live, it's all life's consciousness archive. Scientists call this Gaia hypothesis. Idea, planet living system, self-adjusting, self-healing, self-remembering. But ancients felt it long ago. They called Earth Mother, not just for nurturing, but because Mother remembers. Mother carries wounds and miracles, harvests and losses, prayers and cries in heart, all absorbed, transformed, returned as new life. If you delve deep into pristine forest, sometimes you'll feel indescribable something, like invisible eyes watching, not threatening, but witnessing. Forest witnesses you as it witnessed thousands beings past here. Every seed sprouting on that land carries previous generations' info, DNA, not just biocode, but memory language. And as tree grows, it carries not just new life, but planet's ancient memory. Science discovered pollen grains, growth rings, polar ice layers preserve atmospheric chemistry millions years ago. When humans drill into ice, they not just read data, reading Earth's diary. Each tiny air bubble in ice a past breath, message to present. Planet once hotter, colder, endured more, still continues living. And in that remember ability, Earth becomes mind-having being. But Gaia's memory, not just in matter, exists in frequency too. Every human action, emotion, vibration etched in planet's magnetic field. When we anger, war, destroy, ground absorbs that energy. When we love, forgive, share, planet absorbs too. Earth's energy field, many civilizations called Akashic field, like quantum memory where every experience recorded, never lost, just waiting reread by souls knowing listen. Perhaps that's why when we meditate in silence, touch soil, or hear rain falling, we feel unnameable familiarity. Not just pleasant feeling, but resonance with ancient memory flowing every molecule. Our body recognizes what mind forgot. We and Earth never separated. When our heart beats, it doesn't beat alone. Syncs with planet heart, oceans, forest, wind. Earth not just stores life memory, learns too. After each destruction, nature recovers faster, smarter. After each flood season, soil adjusts flows, trees root deeper, insects adapt. This planet ceaselessly self-reorganizes, like body learning through experience. And like human memory, Gaia's memory has two sides, records both pain and love, mistakes and understood lessons. Places once destroyed, burned forests, dead soil, polluted seas, not just scars, but unhealed memories. When we replant tree, water clears, birds return, planet not just recovers, but forgives. It recreates memory with tolerance. That's why nature harbors no hatred, no matter how many times humans wound it. Earth just waits, then rewrites, patient as meditator, loving as mother. If we view world as memory-having entity, will live differently. We'll know every action imprints. Every thought becomes part of big story. Gentle word, loving gesture, sown seed, all recorded. And perhaps, when future generations listen to wind, they'll hear in it echo of our own kindness left behind. Gaia's memory, not just back to past, reaches future too. Everything we do today, data for tomorrow's evolution. Every clean breath, protected land, peaceful human sleep nourishes planet mind. And as planets stiller, our consciousness clearer, like two brains syncing through gratitude frequency. Now we understand when saying protect Earth, really saying protect own memory. For all we are, body, emotion, thought, soul, data copied from this planet. And when we leave, we carry nothing but return our data share to it, what we learned, loved, understood. Thus Earth grows smarter, gentler, deeper. Perhaps when last humans pass, this planet won't grieve, for it will remember. It will remember laughter, music, structures, poems, dreams, all kept, like soft light streak in universe mind, where every memory becomes seed for new worlds. All kept, like soft light streak in universe mind, where every memory becomes seed for new worlds. That light doesn't extinguish, but shifts form, carrying in it breath of once existent things, from first wave crash on primal shore to last breath of smiling human in sleep. Every moment preserved, like transparent glass shards, reflecting each other in time's ocean, where no beginning nor end, only wondrous continuation called life. Universe never forgets, for it is living memory of all that ever happened. In every drifting dust grain, trace of dead stars. In every breath, remnant of fallen leaf seasons. In every thought, distant echo of billions years evolution. And perhaps, when we sleep, those memories continue dreaming through us. So story never stops. Like forest regrowing after burn, river self-finding new path when blocked, universe always recreates itself through every life breath. Every loss just energy reshuffle. Every parting just another way to meet again. In spaces deep, where light yet reaches, life still sprouts, silent, patient. For memory not just stores, but nourishes. And when we quiet, only heartbeat harmonizing planet breath remains. We can feel something beyond words. We never left where we belong. Everything we love, lose, every gaze, every touch, all become part endless music Earth sings with stars. When night falls, world gradually lulls to sleep. No, nothing truly vanishes. Every memory, every dust grain, every breath, all slowly flying through universe, carrying our whispers, merging invisible light stream writing tomorrow's story. Close eyes, listen distant rustle of wind, wave beats on shore, root whispers in earth heart. Not just nature sounds, echo of memory, universe's lullaby softly saying to you, everything still here, everything still living, and we'll meet again in next light dream. Good night, green planet traveler. Let day's final breath dissolve into universe breath. For right in that silence, all things retell life story once more.